Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. I'm Alex Mahajer. It is Tuesday, December 15th. We have 15 days left until 2020 is finally over. And this morning, we're going to be talking about Joe Biden and this Electoral College victory, which was finally certified yesterday. Electors across the country met to certify the 2020 U.S. presidential election. And it panned out just the way that it should have. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris named the next president and vice president by the Electoral College after months, over a month of attempts to circumvent democracy by Trump and his Republican cronies. We're going to talk about that, what this means for the Georgia Senate races that are coming up on January 5th, and just the reactions. We're going to talk about that, all of this and more on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. I'm Alex Mahajer. It is so lovely to see you all this Tuesday morning. If you're watching on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. It'll pop up right here on screen. Or if you're watching on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, wherever you're watching, leave us a comment and we'll bat around live together on air. We have a lot of people joining already this morning. Good morning. From New York City and NYC Rocks, good to see you. Pablo de la Hoya, good morning from Los Angeles. Peter Bittner is joining in from Seattle. Thank you for joining. Mike Grizz says that I've got nice graphics. Well, thanks, Mike. Thank you so much, and stay tuned. HAPS is a brand new beta stage platform that has been just killing it. And that's due to large part due to the HAPS guys who are just working so hard to just continue to make it better and better experience. And hello from Philadelphia. Good to see you all across the country this morning. Noel, you mang every day. Noel, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we've got a lot of headlines to cover before we get into this Electoral College news with Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris, and the implications and ramifications of this Electoral College vote yesterday and why it's significant. But first, let's cover today's headlines. Today is the last day for open enrollment in the through the Affordable Care Act for health insurance for the year 2021. If you're interested in enrolling, please visit healthcare.gov and see what kind of plans work for you. This is something that the Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, was pushing today, and today's the last day. Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, will travel to Atlanta today to campaign for Democratic Senate candidates John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, who are aiming to unseat the two Republican GOP senators in this January 5th runoff election. Early voting has started across the state of Georgia. People have been mailing in their ballots for a few weeks already, and this will determine the power structure of the United States Senate in the new Congress next year. U.S. officials say that they plan to distribute nearly 6 million doses of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine by the end of this week, as soon as they get FDA approval for emergency use. As we know, Pfizer started distributing their vaccine this week after their emergency use approval last Friday. So good news all around. The expiration of the federal eviction ban at the end of the month will disproportionately hurt Black and Latino tenants, according to the National Low Income Housing Coalition. The majority of the up to 17 million households at risk of losing their homes this winter are comprised of Black and Latino tenants who are more likely to rent, to be renters. So this is just going to continue to widen the income, the disparity in racial and wealth inequality in the United States. Donald Trump's fundraising efforts for the Georgia Senate runoff election are not benefiting the GOP candidates at all. So most of the proceeds in these defend the election and let's beat the socialists in Georgia campaigning messaging that we've seen from Trump, turns out most of the proceeds are going to his own newly launched PAC, which he plans to use to fund his own future political activities or maybe pay his legal debts. We're not exactly sure. Only a fraction of these donations that are going to his Defend Georgia campaign messages, and I am subscribed to Mr. Trump's emails, and I do get them on a like almost hourly basis. This guy's asking me for money. They're not going to help these two Georgia Republicans. They're going to his own personal campaign coffers, but the grifter in chief is going to do his thing until the very last minute. Am I right? So thanks everybody for joining. We got a lot of other people chiming in. Thanks guys for watching this morning. So Jose, my daughter Jose, good morning from Compton. Good to see you. And grateful to see you. So here's what's up. Yesterday, President-elect Joe Biden finally received his Electoral College votes. The Electoral College met across the country to vote for the president and the vice president in accordance with the winner of their state. And as was expected, Joe Biden won 306 Electoral College votes, and the Electoral College voted to certify his victory. Now, this is a big deal. It normally isn't. This is not normally a big deal, but this year it's a big deal because there was a lot of fanfare made about trying to flip electors, about trying to get state legislatures to appoint electors that would vote for Trump in direct conflict with the outcome in their state. And there were a lot of eyes on Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and yes, Georgia. So a lot of anxiety going into this Electoral College vote about whether or not our democratic processes would hold, whether this institution, which is in and of itself, the Electoral College, is extremely problematic and a relic of an archaic system of a time gone by. We really should do away with it. And if anyone's watching this, I suggest you look into the Interstate Electoral College, or excuse me, the Interstate Popular Vote Compact, I believe, which seeks to abolish the Electoral College through other legal means outside of the constitutional amendment, which would be really one of the only ways we could do it. So let's see, we've got some comments this morning. Let's see. I'm happy to see you here proudly talking about something that's politically that's happening. The current trend for me is to don't bring politics into this or that. That's the worst thing to do. We as a nation should be able to talk about that. Yeah, we should. Absolutely. Thank you for the compliments. Japanese brutalism. An interesting screen name. Got another comment. I'm glad Joe Biden won. The things that affect our lives directly, not just leave the political talk to the suits, says question and explore. So thank you for the comments. And if you're watching, please leave a comment. Or if you're watching on the HAPS app or website, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. So Joe Biden, after winning this Electoral College victory, he gave a speech, which is also very uncommon. This is not usually an event that has much fanfare around it. In fact, I would imagine that this, even before this year, I don't think we ever really had this event be televised or receive much media attention at all. And so Joe Biden gave a speech, and it was the first time that he rebuked publicly Donald Trump's all-out assaults on our democracy with regards to his post-election activities, whether through the courts, up to the Supreme Court, the trying to meet with state election officials and Republican legislators in state legislatures and trying to get them to flip the outcome. Joe Biden has been very quiet about this up until last night, but he got his Electoral College victory, and then we heard from him in a speech. And let's hear a little bit from President-elect Joe Biden.
Thankfully, a unanimous Supreme Court immediately and completely rejected this effort. The court sent a clear signal to President Trump that there would be no part of an unprecedented assault on our democracy. Every single avenue was made available to President Trump to contest the results. He took full advantage of each and every one of those avenues. President Trump was denied no course of action he wanted to take. He took his case to Republican governors and Republican Secretary of State, as he criticized many of them, to Republican state legislatures, to Republican-appointed judges at every level. And in the case decided after the Supreme Court's latest rejection, a judge appointed by President Trump wrote, quote, "This court has allowed the plaintiff the chance to make his case. and he has lost on the merits. End of quote. Lost on the merits. Even President Trump's own cybersecurity chief, overseeing our elections, said it was the most secure election in American history, and summarily was let go. Let me say it again. His own cybersecurity chief, overseeing this election, said it was the most secure in American history. You know, respecting the will of the people is at the heart of our democracy, even when we find those results hard to accept. But that's the obligation of those who've taken on a sworn duty to uphold the Constitution.
So there it is, President-elect Joe Biden kind of taking Donald Trump and his efforts to circumvent democracy to task, and rightfully so. And it is heartening that the Electoral College ended up doing what it was supposed to. And the system, which already is very flawed, did what it was supposed to with the Electoral College vote yesterday. And this morning, for the very first time, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell actually addressed Biden's victory, acknowledged that it was a victory. Now, Republicans have been extremely quiet, particularly Senate Republicans, who are now sort of starting to acknowledge the win, which is, we're grateful for that, a little late, 40 plus days after the election, which is very harmful to democracy and very much so not customary. You know, when you know who the projected winner is going to be, you begin the work of starting to peacefully transition. And so this obstructionism by Republicans seems to have been just up until the last minute, until this Electoral College vote was certified. So let's hear what Mitch McConnell had to say. And I'll note, Mitch McConnell and the Senate Majority Leader was later than Russian President Vladimir Putin in acknowledging Joe Biden's victory. Russian President Vladimir Putin beat Mitch McConnell to the punch, which is ultimately fairly shameful. But let's hear from Mitch McConnell about Joe Biden's Electoral College victory.
But our system of government has processes to determine who will be sworn in on January the 20th. The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden. The President-elect is no stranger to the Senate. He's devoted himself to public service for many years. I also want to congratulate the Vice President-elect, our colleague from California, Senator Harris. Beyond our differences, all Americans can take pride that our nation has a female Vice President-elect for the very first time. I look forward to finishing out the next 36 days strong with President Trump. Our nation needs us to add another bipartisan chapter to this record of achievement.
When he's saying another bipartisan chapter, what he's really saying is we really can't lose these two Georgia Senate races because this guy's in for sure. And so that, you know, as is always the case with Mitch McConnell, there is never just a show of grace. It's always laden with some other ulterior political motive. But I guess it's Washington, D.C. So can we really blame him? You know what? Yes, we can. We're going to go ahead and blame Mitch McConnell. He waited far too long. He's supposed to be the leader of the Republican Party, the Republican majority, and has failed utterly. And the way that this paves the way for future candidates to contest election outcomes that are so clear and use the political party, their political partisanship, their political party affiliation as a means and a reason for circumventing democracy and to justify their actions is very troubling. That is not the way democracy works. So Mitch McConnell continues to be an obstructive force, and the Senate Georgia races are coming up. I just want to note one really interesting point is that 2016 presidential candidate Hillary Clinton, who won the popular vote in 2016, she's actually an elector from the state of New York. And so she was actually able to show up and cast her electoral college vote for Joe Biden, making Donald Trump a one-term president. And the poetic justice of that was not lost on me at all. That the popular vote winner who was denied her presidency because of the Electoral College would then be there to cast her Electoral College vote against Donald Trump and for Joe Biden yesterday. And that was televised, and here she is looking fairly gleeful, if I might surmise so much as to say that she looks pretty gleeful. So there is that. Now, early voting has begun in Georgia. We got some video of the lines here in Fulton County. To give you some, this is a line going around the Ponce Library in Fulton County, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. And to give you some perspective on this, you know, I was in Fulton County ahead of the November 3rd election, and I was actually at this voting location checking out early voting lines to see what the turnout was in Georgia. And Fulton County's this specific location did not have this big of a turnout ahead of the November 3rd election when I went, right at the beginning of early voting ahead of the November 3rd election. And so lines wrapped around the corner here at the Ponce de Leon Library in Fulton County, Georgia, and the January 5th runoff election's coming up. So if you're in Georgia, get out there and vote. And our democracy depends on it, and a future agenda by the new president-elect Joe Biden will depend on it. So I want to thank you all for joining this morning. This is the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it or subscribing. You can do that at haps.tv/@Alex, or, you know, just watch every morning. Leave us a comment. Let us know. Click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying it. We got a lot of comments coming in. Pablo de la Hoya is super stoked that I got a Hillary Clinton retweet. Me and Hill Dog, HRC. Just like your next president question, swallow and respect it. The line is longer than most lines at Walmart's now, says Question and Explore. Thank you, who's always chiming in to comment on my mustache, is saying that my mustache has certified their result. And that's, yeah, the Electoral College is right here. The real question is, how great is that mustache? You guys are killing me. Some worked really hard to play golf. And yeah, that's a lot of amazing comments chiming in this morning. Biden has to rebuild relationships around the planet. That's certainly going to be one of the things that is going to be a top priority for the new incoming Biden administration. So thank you all for joining this morning. We will be back tomorrow morning with all of your political news and headlines. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic Tuesday, everybody. Bye-bye.